What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. That R33 that we just finished repairing, is time to get it body work and get this thing into paint. Let's get into today's video. Alright, so last time you guys saw us working on this R33 Skyline, we have replaced the quarter panel. Now, this job is into our second stage. Now, we got to get this thing body work. Now, even though this is a different panel, it still has its body work. So we still got to make this thing look real nice. We still got to finish it. And the customer just informed us that he wants us to paint the rest of the vehicle. Now, that's going to probably give us a little bit of issues, because right here, I see a little bit of cracking. I see a little bit of rust, and this thing has seen better days. So now it's time to go ahead and finish up the body work on this quarter panel, and then we'll be able to finish up the rest of the car. Guys, so client decided to go ahead and paint the rest of the car. We have a couple more problem areas, so let's see what this thing's gonna look like. So we went ahead and did a patch panel right here on the quarter panel, patch right here on the door, and now we're blocking out the hood. Jose's doing a little bit of blocking right here. Renee's over here doing some body work on this quarter panel, and we're just taking this thing straight to Pound Town. These guys are DPing this thing. Little bit of love?
Huh?
Is this thing getting some love or what?
Yeah. We're gonna finish up the front hood, and then we're gonna move on to the rest of it.
Okay, Troy's over here mixing up a little bit of bando.
Yes.
La mezcla.
Sí, la mezcla.
¿Qué le estás mechando?
Mezcla, maestro.
Seeing this thing's getting body work, and I just had to stop here because you guys are not really getting all the context of what's going on, right? You just see a bunch of bondo back on the new to us quarter panel. You may be wondering, why are they just lathering it up with bondo again, and it was already covered in bondo? So let me kind of walk you through the process here. So what we do is we don't see a dent and we just fill the dent, right? Because what you do when you just fill this little dents and you sand it, you're gonna create a wave. So what we do is we fill the whole panel with bondo. The panel then gets sanded. You kind of saw them hitting it with the D8, that's just to kind of get a lot of it down, but we block it out. What happens is any bondo that needs to get filled in those areas gets filled in. We've already pulled out any dent that needed to get pulled out. Now, this bondo that's going to go on it is going to fill everything in, and all the bondo that we don't need is just going to fall on the ground, right? It's going to get sanded off. So by the time we're done, you're going to see some low and high, whatever, everything's going to get filled, and then we're going to block everything again, primer it, reblock, and so on and so forth, so this thing is laser straight. So you may see it with a lot of bondo right now, but trust me, it's not going to be like that once we're all done. Right now we are just skim coating everything, so that way everything is nice and smooth and perfect. Meanwhile, the rest of the car is getting worked on. Hood's been repaired, all its little green vents. We're blocking onto the fender right now. We've done some rust repair on that door. Done a little rust repair on this quarter. We got another rust spot on the other side of the door. And this whole car is gonna need to get blocked out, you know? Usually people always ask us, how much is a paint job? First off, that is the most broadest question that you could ever ask us. What kind of car is it, for one, right? What type of body work is gonna need? Are we doing a color change? Are we taking glass out? Are we doing a wide? I mean, there's just so much things that come into when you're doing a paint job, right? There's too many variables. We don't know, and you get into a car like this, there's even more unknowns to us because we're doing some repair work. Customer asks us, hey, paint the rest of the car. Well, this is how much it will cost to paint the rest of the car. But what about all these rust we just found? How am I possibly going to know that that's there? And once we find it, how much time is it going to take us? Well, we don't. It's done when it's done, and then you get your bill afterward. I know that's kind of like scary when you're going into a body shop, but hey, that's unfortunately when you want to hang with the big boys. That's kind of what you got to do. You gotta pretty much be ready to blow some money, you know. And it's not because I want to. It's just because that's how it has to be. We have to make sure that these cars are good because that's the only way we do work.
Alright guys, so we got an update on the R33. We got Renee, Jose blocking this thing out, getting all the body work. As you know, we found a little bit more rust. These Japanese cars, I don't know if they just like throwing salt inside the quarter panel so they can just rust, or it's just, you know, it's just that seawater up there, you know, so it's that strong JDM rust. So you remember this quarter panel has all been installed, welded. Obviously it was going to need a lot of body work. We're going to be going through the doors, fenders, and you can see it peeled down to the original primer there. Hood has a couple of dings and dents. Bumper's going to need a lot of love. Same with the wing right there that we just took off. Jose's been blocking the door after we welded the spot on there. Continue with the final block, getting this thing ready for paint.
Alright, so this thing's like a never-ending repair. You know, the more you chase it, the more you're gonna find. Initially, you know, we had some telltale signs of some rust here. Opened that up. That got cut and welded. Then we started just grinding down, kind of feathered everything out. We found more rust here. That got cut and welded. Followed that down, found more rust here. That got cut and welded. Followed that up over here. And this is in the process of getting a rebuild as well. We're in this side of the quarter panel already a couple days, almost 3 days now. It's a lot of work when you're trying to, you know, make all this stuff from scratch and get the right contours and stuff like that. We've already done a good amount of body work on the car. Most of the stuff has been blocked out, but you know, we don't really want to work on top of this, you know, but unfortunately this is not a full, you know, body off, you know, sandblast restoration. But we do want to go ahead and at least the areas that we know that are bad, repair that. So we went ahead and cut and weld some areas here, start blocking out the rest of the car and getting this thing into primer. Up next, hood's done. This side, the factory paint started peeling, so it went down to the factory metal. We went ahead and cut and welded the piece down there. So now that's all that's really left is to get this quarter panel into primer, finish up the bodywork on this door, finish up the bodywork on this fender, and finish up on the roof. After that, we'll primer the whole thing. Then we'll work on the kit, which consists of the side skirts, rear bumper, and then more than likely we're gonna get a new front bumper because this one is absolutely fucked. It's definitely not. It's worth its weight because it's just fucked. Look at this. What is that? Oh, they just decided not to sand that. That's what happened there. That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then we got the trunk. And you know what's gonna happen in the trunk? I'll give you one fucking clue. More fucking rust. But we're almost done. This thing is coming along a little faster than I expected. Even with all the issues on there, we're moving right along. Alright, so update on the Skyline. So it's been a while since we really got this thing finished up. It was getting really close. It was already pretty much ready for the wet sand, and then we got this kit. And this kit had major fitment issues all the way around. It was almost hopeless at one point, but we talked it out with our client and told him, hey, we cannot do this half-ass. We have to make sure you use the full ass on this one, right? So we're making sure every gap on this thing is, you know, like it's supposed to be. All the way around. We have to correct all the faces to make sure they're not wavy. And all this, man, this was all just tore up. We had to extend the side skirt in because the little lip was so low that we had to put hardware here, and you would see the hardware. It just wasn't it, right? This whole area just didn't conform to the fender. This is all fiberglass and Bondo, and you can only imagine all the hours that went into it. Now that it's all gone through on the edges, now we have to do all the faces. It's a lot of work.
You want to see some real work? Look at this. Look how they sent us the thing.
That's custom right there.
So whatever you put on top of this,
It's just gonna flake.
it's only flake. So here we are, just sanding away the bad stuff.
We see the light at the tunnel. I'm hoping that this week whole kit is primered and maybe the body is gonna go into paint. We don't know yet because you know, there's really no point in getting this thing all nice and pretty if we're still sanding on it, right? We're still doing body work and stuff like that. But we're this close. We're this close. All right, so we worked on this. We've had this car here for a long time. Let's just say it like it is. Not all of it is our fault, right? But also, we're doing a whole lot of work on this thing. Before, this quarter panel used to look like this, and now it doesn't. And another thing that we had to do is fit this kit on there, and it fit, to be honest, like hot garbage. It was probably the worst fitting kit that we've had. I'm not sure, maybe not, but we've had some bad kits, but it fit horrible. So anyways, right now we have a couple guys starting to get this thing wet sanded, and we're gonna get it into paint. I'm gonna show you some of the progress that led us to get here, and the full progress to get this thing finally painted and assembled and delivered to our clients. So let's get to it. All right, so we got a fresh coat of sealer on this thing. Now we are just minutes away from getting base coat. But wow, what a transformation. This car, when it first got here, I swear to you, it was like, if it wasn't a Skyline, this thing would have been in the junkyard. I guaranteed this thing for sure would have landed in a junkyard. Like if this was anything else. But luckily the team here at SOS Customs fully revived this R33 Skyline. Up next, let's get some base on it. Hey guys, so I just got news that the Skyline it's freshly painted. You guys saw it with base sealer right before base a little bit earlier. And I just got word that it's safe to go in there, so we're gonna go check it out. But I'm gonna tell you exactly what's left, so we can finally put this thing behind us. We thought we were done, but we're not done. We still have the wing. This is a GTR wing that we're fixing. That has a bunch of little cracks here and there. You have the tail lamp covers that go over the Skyline lights. We got this Skyline name board right there. We got the blade of the wing. We have the bumper. Pretty much the whole body kit needs to get blocked out right now. These two side skirts are ready for primer, right, Alex? These still need to get blocked and then re-primered one more time. So that's everything that's left to paint, including the gas cap. I didn't get that, but that needs to get painted too, and the trunk. So I missed out on a couple things, but up next, wow, let's look at the Skyline. It's fully painted. I never thought I'd see the day, to be honest. This car right here, this one right here, was like, if it wasn't a Skyline, it would have been at the junkyard. And I think I've kind of touched base on that earlier, but it was so bad. It was so bad. It was probably the worst Skyline ever. Sorry to say that to the client that owns this car. I didn't mean it in like a bad way. It was really bad. But without further ado, let's take a look at this freshly painted Nissan Skyline. I'm very pleased with the results. This thing came out immaculate. It's hard to see in the booth, but if I have a little light somewhere here, let me find the lights. I want to show you guys the pearl. So here we have very oversprayed sunlight. So this kind of gives you like a little look of what this thing could look like in the sun. Look at that pearl. Wow. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but this thing has a really nice pearl. Very clean. The car, without any like direct sunlight on there, still looks very white, right? Doesn't look very creamy. or nothing like that. Very similar to the white that was originally on here, because we used that same base coat to give us this white. And you know, we added this pearl on there. It's very clean, but wow, I'm telling you, this thing looks amazing. I'm very happy with the results. I'm sure our client's gonna be ecstatic. This thing has been under the knife for a long time. And I'll kind of give you guys a brief overview of this car. This car came to us initially as, you know, collision repair. But because the previous, you know, repairs or work that was done on this car was not up to standard, the insurance company really wanted to total this car out. You know, the customer stepped in and says, hey, he will cover the additional expense to do whatever we need to do. And so we did that. And so we ended up, you know, starting our search for a new quarter panel. But after further examination, let me get out of here before I pass out from the fumes. You know, this car, you know, we had to order, upon further review, we had to not only get a quarter panel, but we had to get an inner structure. So, like, that's something that, you know, is not available through Nissan anymore. So we ended up having to find a junkyard in Australia to give us a whole section of a Skyline, if you will. So we had to find said junkyard to supply us with that, pay them in advance. They had to cut the section out of the car, and then from there they had to ship it from Australia to us. The whole issue with getting the parts from here to there, to be honest, that took way longer than it should have. I think it was like 6 months, which is ridiculous, right? They didn't want to accept PayPal. You know, it was a nightmare. So, long story short, you know, we ended up getting, you know, the parts, and that's when we began the repairs. And that's when maybe some of you guys were seeing, you know, us posting about it, because we're like, hey, yeah, we're under repair and we're going, and, you know, everything's good. Then, you know, once the repairs were done, we're like, hey, let's get ready for paint. Then clients wanted to, you know, say, hey, you know, if we're gonna repaint this, like this side, it's gonna look way better than the rest of it. Let's paint the rest of the car. Then we're like, okay, well, let's do that. So we started getting the rest of the car. There was rust on the rest of the car. So then it just started opening up like a can of worms, you know. Then after that, the customer provided us with a body kit that he wanted to put on there, which, to be honest, was probably one of the worst body kits that, you know, I've seen in most recent history as far as fitment goes. The fitment was so horrible. We literally had to fiberglass all the edges and to make it like somewhat fit, glaze the whole faces, because it was so wavy, man. It looked like the Pacific Ocean. It was bad. So it was just like one wave of not good news after not good news, and finally we got to the point where the body got into paint. You know, because we couldn't get, even though the body was ready, we couldn't necessarily get into paint because we had to fit all the body kit. So now the body is painted, as you guys saw. The kit is getting prepped out for paint since it's all bodywork, and we're pretty much ready to shoot that next week. To kind of stop the babbling on, the car will be ready hopefully within another couple weeks. You guys saw the car painted. It's good to go. The next up, the kit's gonna get painted, and we're gonna finish assembling it, and it'll be ready. We'll show you guys the full completion on the next video. So I'm sorry to cut you off there, but at least I wanted to give you guys something to just let you know that we're still working on that project. And sometimes that's why some of these things are so expensive, right? Because of the time. You know, the car had to sit here this whole time while we're waiting for parts and waiting for, you know, more body work and more additional work. So it was a lot, but the 80% of it is done. Now it's time for that next 20% so we can finish off the rest of it and get it done. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. It was a long time coming, just know that. This is months and months of time to accumulate to what we have here. So thank you guys again so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe and notification button, because in the next couple weeks this thing's gonna be fully done, and it's gonna be definitely something a lot different than what you're gonna see out there. Also, give us a follow on IG. I'm gonna go ahead and drop our links right here, because while this video just barely went live today, I've been posting updates, you know, on the car. So follow us on IG, and if you guys have any other questions, you can always DM us questions about repair tactics and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Here at SOS Customs, we got you covered. Peace.
What do you think about this?